What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So today we're going to take a look at the Carolina Panthers offense versus the Cowboys defense. So the Carolina Panthers are, unfortunately, we're catching them at a bad time for us. I'm not Team Tank. I've been making that pretty clear. I want to see the Cowboys win. Um, but we're catching Carolina at a pretty poor time if you want to see a Cowboys win, because this is the best Carolina's played all season long. They took the Chiefs down to the wire. I mean, they played good against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were a drop touchdown catch away from beating the Philadelphia Eagles. So just a lot of good things. Bryce Young seems to be playing a little bit better now since he had the time to sit down and then come back. He's not blowing you away. I'm not calling him a Pro Bowl or anything. He is not the quarterback we played last week with Joe Burrow. But the complementary football aspect of things seems to be going well for the Carolina Panthers. And it's their offense does present some problems for the Cowboys defense, especially when you factor in no DeMarvion Overshown for the foreseeable future. I detailed that a lot in my last episode, reacting to the Cowboys' loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, where it just, they could have won. They lost a player. They had some bad luck. So you factor that stuff in, and I think it's going to be a challenge. I think Maris Leofau will end up being a good player for the Cowboys, but he doesn't provide what DeMarvion Overshown does. Honestly, not many people in the league provide that. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes here, but let's take a quick look. So first play we're going to take a look at here is Carolina being aggressive. And this is one of the things that the Cowboys are going to have to worry about. This team is 3-10, right? They got nothing to lose. They're not making the playoffs. They're not going anywhere. So, their playbook is open. They don't have to play conservative. The coach isn't going anywhere. Bryce Young has played his way at least into another year of showing them, what he possibly has. So, it's very dangerous to go against a team like this. Young, inexperienced, nothing to lose, but they're still playing hard. So, the Eagles have them backed up here on the goal line, right? And you see Carolina, they come out. This is so aggressive. This is an aggressive formation for this situation. Most teams come out and they line up pretty heavy, bring everybody in tight, and just kind of try to run it or quarterback sneak it a couple of times just to get some space, and then maybe go with a formation like this on third down. But Carolina's like, nah, bro. I mean, it is third down in this particular situation, but this is aggressive. If he gets sacked, that's a safety. They're going to be punting out of their own end zone. So Carolina comes out 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. They got a running back in the backfield. I think that's Chuba Hubbard and then they got the 5 guys down. So let's take a look. The Eagles do match it. Now it looks like the Eagles are matching it with a nickel here, right? They've got the guy lined up tight here, but they got their 2 linebackers and their 4 down linemen. Quarter lined up tight there, 1 lined up tight there, 1 playing inside technique on this, or outside shoulder technique on this guy, and then this guy is giving this guy a lot of room, and then a 2 deep safety as well, just to kind of take some things away. But Bryce Young, they're still not respecting him. They think this is last year Bryce Young, so they're trying to. Oops, sorry guys, they're trying to figure things out. So let's take a look. So the ball gets snapped. And boom, right off the rip, we see Bryce Young has pretty good protection, right? His pocket's pretty clean here, which is a lot to say because the Eagles do have Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and Melton Williams and Josh Sweat. So they do have some dogs on that defensive line. But Carolina's blocking it up pretty well, and Bryce Young is standing comfortably, way more comfortably than I would be in the end zone right now. But if you take a look at it, it also looks like the Eagles have this guy's pretty covered, that guy's pretty covered, that guy's got a free release. He's kind of looking like he's coming off of this guy with an eye on this guy, coming out of the backfield. So you could have an option to throw here. And then this guy is also kind of coming out on this side too. So this guy has him in coverage. You don't want to throw that short pass because he just fire up and tackle for a safety. So this is not the pass you want to make unless you have some time to let the play develop. So let's see where we continue to go. So Bryce Young, boom. He got pressured. He got pressured in the end zone. So he held it. Boom. Gets pressure. And this is in the end zone. The poise that this takes here. Because now he has to step in the pocket and he has to make a play now. And if it's a holding call in the end zone, this is a safety, right? So this is the fourth quarter of the game. There's very little time left. This is a pressure-packed moment for this Carolina Panthers team. So Bryce Young steps up, keeps going. Oh my goodness, almost gets sacked, gets out of the sack, and then boom. Now we see it. You see this guy? All that ad-libbing gave him plenty of time here. Plenty of time here to be wide open. Wide open. So boom, catches the ball and gets a first down for Carolina, keeps this drive alive, and now they're in business. That was kind of nasty there. The way he just ad-libbed that play. Because that was dead. Right? He's here. Boom. This is dead. There's no chance, bro. Oh my God. Now you're dead again. Nope. I'm a cat. I got multiple lives. Dead again. In the defensive player's arms. Nothing. And that gives just enough time for this guy to sneak out behind. Bryce Young makes a good throw. Players down, but now they got a first down, and that was 3rd and 11. They have a fresh set of downs now, and now they got some life. Just terrific play. And the Cowboys are going to have to be very mindful of this because they tend to struggle a little bit with quarterbacks moving around, right? So, let's take a look at what they did last week against Cincinnati. So Cincinnati, is coming out. They've got 2 wide receivers down here. They've got another wide receiver up here. They got the tight end running back to the right. And then Cowboys match it like they normally would, right, with nickel. So they got these 4 down. And then Leofau's in the game and this is after the Overshown injury. So you got Leofau in with Kendricks. You got Jordan Lewis in. Trayvon's playing up, and then you got your corner here. You got your safety here kind of sneaking around trying to see what's going on, right? So at the snap of the play, no motion by the Bengals, boom. So you got the quarterback dropping back. Micah Parsons runs quick. But this is the problem, right? This is kind of just what we saw from Bryce Young. Now, what I will say is nobody on the Philadelphia Eagles won as quickly as Micah Parsons just won right there. Micah Parsons beat his guy right off the rip. But the Eagles, even though they have some great pass rushers, they don't have a Micah Parsons. Not many teams do. So hopefully that plays into our hands this week. I mean, if Micah Parsons beats that tackle, like he did right now, and then is able to retrace his steps. So that's the problem on this play. Micah gets far upfield. He can't retrace his steps quite quick enough. This guy's freaking doing the splits over here. But Micah's, he can't quite retrace his steps quick enough. So what happens is Joe Burrow's able to step up in the pocket, boom, make the throw, boom, get to the sideline, and that was a first down. It wasn't quite high stakes like that. It was still high stakes because it was 4th down, 5 minutes left in the game, scores tied. So, I mean, the Bengals had to have the play, but it wasn't as high stakes as the Carolina play, but it was still high stakes, and Joe Burrow kind of did similar to what Bryce Young did, which is climb the pocket, find the receiver, make the throw. That's the second play. Mike McCarthy talks about this a lot, right? Everything above the 2.3. Everything is designed, right? When perfect world, vacuum scenario, you want the ball to come out in 2.3 seconds. The reason why you want it to come out in 2.3 seconds is because when your quarterback is to the top of his drop, the route should be, even if they're not open, they should be starting to come open on that 2.3. So that quarterback should be releasing those balls even sometimes before the receiver turns his head, just so that once he comes out of his break, ball's out, boom, good to go. But Joe Burrow was looking for a bigger play. He was looking for a chunk play, similar to what Bryce Young was doing on that play because of the circumstances. And both of them got it. So it's just going to be something that we're going to have to take a look at this week because Carolina is playing a lot better than they were, man. All right, so let's take a look at this one. We're going to see something similar here too, right? So take a look. We got the 3-by-1, one wide receiver down here, 3 wide receivers up there. You got the 5 down linemen. You got Chuba Hubbard, and you got Bryce Young back there. Again, Tampa Bay matches it with nickel, right? They're out there with their 4 down linemen, their 2 linebackers, and then the other defensive backs, right? They're not playing up, though, right? None of these receivers are getting pressed. Everybody's got a free release, so that's also going to be a problem as well. But Mike Zimmer does like to play this way. Like, there's a lot of times where you'll see the Cowboys press, but there's also a lot of times where you see the Cowboys give free releases. Tampa, in this instance, gives them a free release. So now, boom, Bryce Young. Now, as of right here, when he's almost at the top of his drop, right? Let's give it a little further. Almost at the top. This is a good pocket. This is a good pocket. And he has some options here, right? I mean, this guy's pretty locked up depending on what route he's running. This guy is open. He's open. Bryce Young actually probably should be letting this go right now because this guy's hips are turned out that way, and that guy's not going to get to the pass. So you hit this guy right in that little, you throw it right towards that hash mark or maybe just a little bit more inside. I know it's kind of scary for a young quarterback because you do see this guy buzzing, but that should be a completion. And then, depending on what happens, this guy is probably not going to be open because this guy looks like he's already fallen off to kind of take this route away. This guy, it seems like he's got an eye on this guy to kind of come up and take that route away. So it looks like this is your read right away. But Bryce Young doesn't. Oh, and it was. That if he would have thrown it right here, that guy's cutting it up one-on-one with this guy for a touchdown. Instead, Bryce Young, right? Boom, he steps up in the pocket, buys himself some extra time here. And now you have a couple of guys out of position. This guy's open now, and this guy's open now. So now you have 2 options to go to with the ball. Bryce Young chooses the correct option, which is Adam Thielen, gets the touchdown again. I mean, the Cowboys are going to have their hands full with this because Bryce Young is young and athletic, and he's able to buy some time, but he's also able to throw a nice ball and be pretty accurate. I mean, if you look at the accuracy on this ball, there's no problem with Thielen catching this. He throws it right on the money, even though he's stepping up in the pocket under pressure. Boom. Let's just right on the money. So accuracy is going to be a huge thing for the Cowboys this game. We're hoping we get the inaccurate Bryce Young, but, there's a lot of times where you get the accurate Bryce Young. So especially late in this season. And this is similar. The Eagles, instead of a 3-by-1, 3-by-2, right? You got 2 wide receivers at the top and 3 wide receivers at the bottom. Cowboys match it. As we see, nickel, the most common defense in the NFL, nickel defense. And the Cowboys have their linebackers down, but it's also sort of similar where they're not kind of getting up on these guys, right? They're playing off coverage. So it kind of reminds me of the play that we just watched. If you are here, and the end zone is here, right? You're in the red zone. You would think because there's no chance of really getting beat deep, right? 15 yards is not really deep. So you'll be like, hey, I can't get beat deep. Let me get up on these guys. Let me get hands on them. But they don't. So it's more of a free release situation. And that's exactly what we see here. So now on the snap of the ball, Jalen Hurts, boom. He gets the snap, right? And the Cowboys send an extra guy here, right? They send DeMarvion Overshown. Overshown's coming. He's screaming. But just like Bryce Young when he stepped up in the pocket, same thing. Hurts just make a small move, makes Overshown miss, and there he goes. Steps up in the pocket, throws the ball, boom. Dallas Goedert, touchdown. So it's just one of those things where this has been a consistent weakness in our defense. And Carolina tends to exploit some of these things that the Cowboys are weak in. We're really going to have to be defensively sound. I will say now, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, the Cowboys have been better defensively. So, sometimes trends that happen earlier in the season or things that are consistent things earlier in the season or for most of the season aren't true by the time we get to December. But, the Cowboys struggle in that stuff. We did see Jamar Chase's catch a long touchdown and the pirouette on Deron Bland, this past week and he took it to the house. Jamar Chase had 177 yards on 11 catches, 2 touchdowns. He had some rushing yards. He was beasting it, gritty and all over the place. So you just got to be careful. And we know Carolina doesn't have a Jamar Chase, but these are NFL teams. They can scheme things up. And their head coach is pretty darn good at scheming things up. Head coach, just to give you a little bit of history, he's the guy that helped Baker Mayfield last year resurrect his career, right? And because of that, he ended up with a head coaching job in Carolina. It didn't go the way he wanted earlier in the season, but it seems to be going a little bit better now late in the season. So here's another play I want to look at. This one's a Russian play, right? And, we would all pretty much agree that the Chiefs have a pretty awesome defense, and not only just an awesome defense, they definitely have a better defense than our Cowboys. It sucks to admit that. That hasn't always been true, but it's true now. And here goes Carolina, right? Now, they have their 5 down linemen. Looks like a tight end close here, tight end close here. Chuba out there. Bryce Young controlling things at the line of scrimmage, giving some hand signals, letting people know what's going on. You got big Chris Jones right there in the middle. You got Nick Bolton out there. And so, boom. On the snap of the play, there's already trouble. There's already trouble for Kansas City because you got some one-on-one blocks here, here, and here, right? And then you got a 2-on-1 block here because you ain't going to let Chris Jones just do his thing. So that means now this running back he could bounce, but this guy has outside leverage. He could cut right up this guy, right there, but he can run straight here and choose this hole. But most likely, he's going to choose the hole that has enough room for you to pretty much fit 2 or 3 running backs through. And that's exactly what he does. Boom. And if it wasn't for this guy here, this play was going to go a long way. But Chuba Hubbard, right up the middle, boom, gets all those extra yards and, pretty much a first down run. So, again, Carolina building something, right? Building something. And that the Cowboys are going to have to be very disciplined. This is not the type of game. I'm not saying Carolina is more talented than the Cowboys, although with all the Cowboys injuries, Carolina might be just as talented right now. Now, if we were talking about, I'm not saying fully healthy because at this point in the season, no team would be fully healthy. But let's say if the Cowboys were like 80% healthy, right? Dak Prescott was there and Zach Martin was there. Maybe you were missing DeMarcus Lawrence and maybe you were missing DeMarvion Overshown, but you had Marshawn Nealand and, you had Kalen Carson and, just this game would probably be a Cowboys beatdown. This is not going to be a Cowboys beatdown. And one of the reasons why is right here. That play we just watched, the Philadelphia Eagles pretty much did a very similar thing to the Cowboys. The only thing difference is they had a fullback here, right? And they put a little motion, but the Cowboys haven't had much trouble with motion late in the season. They had a lot more trouble with motion earlier in the season. But here we go. Dallas Goedert, fake motion, Cowboys shift over a little bit. Now, one of the things I quickly noticed, right, is based on alignment, right? All right, let's go here a little earlier. So Eric Kendricks at the start of the play is lined up very close to the hash, right? So you got Cowboys matching this with 4 down linemen. You got your linebackers. You're still kind of in nickel because Jordan Lewis here, he's the 7th guy in the box. But he's not a linebacker. He's a corner. And I don't know why the Cowboys matched it this way, honestly, because you have a tight end here, you have a tight end here, you have a fullback here, and you got the Eagles are like screaming, "We're gonna run." So, but the Cowboys didn't match it personnel wise well at all, which kind of goes right off the rip to coaching, right? And it doesn't mean it's Mike Zimmer, because when you watch an NFL game, there's multiple coaches and some are in charge of personnel, some are in charge of plays. So there's a personnel guy there that's trying to get everybody on and off the field to make sure that we have the right people on the field for the play call. So could be anybody's responsibility, but here we go. Goddard moves. So as I mentioned, Kendricks was lined up on one hash mark, right? But as soon as Goddard moves, he moves right over to the middle. And when Goddard moves back, he never moves back. So boom. Now here we go. That gives a gap for Saquon Barkley to get through. He was in the right place at first, but he wasn't afterwards. And you get an 11-yard gain. So it's just going to be interesting to watch this game against Carolina, because the Cowboys do tend to shoot themselves in the foot, make some mistakes, and things like that. Now, tomorrow we'll take a look at the Cowboys' offense against Carolina's defense. I do believe that there's going to be some ability for the Cowboys to exploit different things in that area as well. So that'll be pretty awesome to take a look at. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at jmillerIYL. Also hit me up via email, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. Again, that's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can also leave comments below if there's anything specific you want me to cover. Any questions that you have, I'll take them here. I'll take them via Twitter. I'll take them via email. Wrap it into a mailbag, make it a formal segment. And we're up to 34 subscribers, trying to get to 50 so I can give away some Cowboys merch, some Cowboys-centric gifts. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Like I said, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. Until next time, this has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.